we're not supposed to be this self-absorbed, are we? We're not supposed to be consistently thinking about how we look all the time. When I had an eating disorder, I was in the 8th grade. Thought like, oh, if we're super skinny, we're super valuable. Oh, I'm so jealous of these skinny girls. It's wild because we're all like, no matter what, you're always losing. Bitching and moaning, bitching and moaning. We are bitching and moaning. We are bitching and moaning. My name is Seneca. Welcome to my casual channel where we talk about anything. Today I'm just going to be talking about bodies and about how we all have crippling body image issues. And I just want to rant about it a bit because I feel like God put it on my heart to just moan about today. I really do. Sometimes rants are hard for me to go on because it's like there's no direction. So I guess I'm going to split this up in intro will be what the hell is going on. We are all cripplingly insecure, even the perfect ones. Even the perfect ones. Body is going to be like let's all be body neutral, because that would be really cool if we were body neutral, but it's also incredibly difficult because the system that we're in profits and thrives off of keeping us insecure. Conclusion is like, how do we recognize the systems that we're in, but also try to be body neutral, but at the same time have a healthy level of appreciation for ourselves and our beauty? Like, I guess that's not really like what I'm going towards. I don't have it like in my head like that, but I just kind of wanted to talk about those themes. The idea of being cripplingly insecure, this has been brought to my attention by TikTok. Because I mean, TikTok in real life, right? I myself, if you don't know, which you probably don't, like a year ago, I went on a rant about how I was jealous of skinnier girls. Basically, what I was saying was, I'm jealous of the people with good genetics. I don't really have to put much effort into having the body that I want, but I have to try so hard to get none of those things. I got diagnosed with PCOS around a year ago, around that time. And I like felt like something was off with my body because I'd gained 20 pounds out of nowhere, dude. Out of nowhere. My weight had never fluctuated like that before. I just like all of a sudden was like a little bit bigger, and it was I felt so uncomfortable. I made that video being like, hey, I gained 20 pounds and hired a nutritionist, what's it called, practice the things that she taught me, on top of like bought a food scale. I bought a food scale. I exercise 3 times a week, and yet I'm still I also do just want to stress I'm 130, but I am 5 foot. I am just overweight and uncomfortable. I think when you grow up in a very privileged position of like having a thinner body and then you get into being in a bigger body, it just makes you realize like just how judgmental you are of people who are in bigger bodies, and realizing how much devaluing you do when you're like working through that yourself. Putting on weight has really taught me how to mind my own business as it relates to other people's bodies too. Oh, that was so devastating to me. Because I think when you grow up knowing like the weight and the value of your beauty, and you are like the beauty standard, I see the beauty standard being like, if you have like a thin waist, okay? I feel like I grew up having a thin waist and having like certain curves. Like I never missed out on like of like not having boobs, and like I feel like I like grew into a butt like in high school and college, I guess. But like a thin waist around the time that I was in high school was like cool to be slim thick, you know? And so being slim thick was like honestly the goal. Like made me feel like I had so much value, inherent value. And then losing that was a little bit difficult. So then I went on that rant and I was like, what the hell? Like, oh, I'm so jealous of these skinny girls. But then I honestly got back and forth between being incredibly like grateful and happy with my body and the fact that I am just like able bodied, you know, just like really recognizing the things that I can do for myself. And like also recognizing I'm putting in my best effort pretty much every day. I did hire a nutritionist. I did take the things I did actually like put those into practice. I'm doing my best. Like I know that, but then the pendulum swings to being like, you did some things, but you're not doing enough. Still even makes me uncomfortable now. But then I go back to like girl, you're in a body and you're not 15. Like, you're not 15. So many of our friends grew up and we're in our mid to late 20s and we're gonna put on this like natural weight. Like, what? I like posted that video of being like, I'm so jealous of these skinny girls. And then I feel like a decent amount of people identified with it. I did turn off the comments because I'm not letting some random 12-year-old who's feeling like they're on a power trip being like, just go to the gym. I'm not allowing that energy. Like, it'll ruin my day. And I want the value to sit in the fact that I felt good enough to put that out for myself and then potentially whoever the heck finds value in it, you know? It's been a year later, but I'm still trying my hardest to like make peace with myself, but then also put in the effort. Anyway, on top of that, I like also wanted to talk about the fact that even if I did lose weight, even if I would still be insecure, like probably cripplingly. Because I remember when I was 20 pounds heavier, I was still insecure. When I had an eating disorder, I was in the 8th grade. I was in the 8th grade and I was like not overweight in any way. I was just like insecure because I was on Tumblr and I was looking at all these extremely skinny women. I like thought like, oh, if we're super skinny, we're super valuable. And I think that that still plagues a large part of people, a large part of society. Like, the prettiest people that you know are like the most kind of outwardly vocal about their insecurities to beautiful people that get to just kind of be outwardly insecure because they know it's like not really life threatening for them. It's kind of just like an annoyance to them. Like, oh, like one of my friends who like who had so many like body issues, but then finally like I guess kind of got to like the place where she wanted to be. Like, I remember her like going through all of these things and she would still make comments about like, oh, I'm so jealous you have a butt. I'm like, girl, you literally spent years like being so insecure about your own body and then now you're here and now all of a sudden like you want my big overweight ass? What, girl? It took me having PCOS to get this ass. It's just crazy because it's whoa. It's wild because we're all like, no matter what, you're always losing. You are always losing. Even when you're the winner, there is this like insatiable feeling of like needing to be the best, do as much as you can, have the smallest waist, the fattest ass, the whatever, the clearest skin. And it's so sad. It is literally what the substance is based on. Is what our culture is going through now, which is probably also why we saw like a rise in people that have just gone on Manjaro and people that are so much skinnier now because we're all sipping the Kool-Aid. We're all victims to this. It's not just like the girl who was diagnosed with this thing that made her put on a lot of weight and then all of a sudden she's upset. It's like, no, I am just as insecure as like the most beautiful, most perfect girl. Kylie Jenner, like the Jenners will like talk about this on their show of how it's unfair that, you know, like they kind of make the beauty standard, but then all of a sudden they're held up to the beauty standard by like millions of people. I feel empathetic for the like scale of fame that they have for themselves because it's probably very difficult to hear like millions of people just have these horrible opinions about you. But then you're also like, no, but then if you set the beauty standard and then all of a sudden you're complaining about the fact that you're being held up to it and it is changing, maybe let's just realize that we've won. You're like, it's crazy as hell to me. And I think that that is why body neutrality is incredibly important. And to be honest, it feels kind of silly for me to be like, let's just be body neutral. Because now that I'm like unhappy with the weight that I'm in, I don't think I would have said that like 3 years ago. Because I would have been like, no, but I'm body positive because I have a body that I feel positively about, you know? Whereas now I don't really necessarily feel incredibly positive about my body, so I'd rather just be neutral.
So, body neutrality to me feels like just truly recognizing your body for the functions that it has and not feeling too negatively or critical of it. I feel like a lot of guys are just born into just body neutral territory. Not to say that guys don't have eating disorders or mass insecurities, but I feel like my brothers, my husband, my relatives do not overly think about the bodies that they're in and genuinely feel very neutral towards it. In a way that I'm incredibly envious of. It's gonna take effort for me to get there, but you're just like born into you thinking of your body as not incredibly positive or incredibly negative. You just get to exist in it. Thinking of body neutrality brings me back to this one instance of like I was on vacation with my husband and we were staying with his family friend who was like a kind, generous person, but like made one comment to me after lunch about how after we had eaten I was a little bit bloated, and he was like, "Oh, I can see your pooch." And he's like 60 years old, and he just got to make that comment about me, and it made me feel bad about myself when his body is nothing. It makes me crazy thinking about all the ways in which men just get to be very neutral about things, but then also still like can label things as beautiful and not beautiful while also recognizing that they are not the beautiful ones. And I would die for that. I would die for that.
I think body neutrality is so incredibly valuable. You can still have like appreciation for your body, but like to put your value, I feel like a lot of us are really just putting a lot of, I'm projecting, okay? I'm projecting at all times. I feel like a lot of us are putting a lot of weight and stock in our physical appearance and how much value that provides for us. That's me projecting, okay? But like, we're not supposed to be this self-absorbed, are we? We're not supposed to be consistently thinking about how we look all the time. I just feel like we're in this rat. I feel like we're in this rat race of, doing that and not like just freely living. I think the fact that Mounjaro is so popular is also very interesting because like what was popular a couple of years ago was like BBLs, like having a big butt was like the thing. But like most of us are not built just like have whatever is with the trend. Like most of us are just built with our genetics, and like the fact that a lot of us are changing our genetics to like fit in to certain current trends is crazy as hell. That's crazy as hell. And that's why I think that body neutrality is so incredibly important, because it just realizes, you just truly realize like I appreciate my body for whatever the heck it can provide for me, and the value that it gives me is simply just like existing, like being able to exist comfortably in it. Like that's your value. That's your value. The fact that like I'm in a system that made me feel like being in an eating disorder when I was 12 was like normal. It's so sad that we're all cripplingly insecure, even when we're perfect. Even when we're perfect. Anyway, I don't even know. Like, this was just nothing. I don't even know. I don't know what the heck this was. I don't even know if I'm gonna post this. I don't know if I'm gonna turn comments on. Probably not. Wherever you are, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, whatever time of day it is. Oh, if you are built like me, happy, unhappy, I hope that you have a valuable, beautiful morning, afternoon, or night.